Blessings and welcome, YouTube family. I'm so excited to be back. I'm so excited to be back. Now, let me just make sure I have everything set up. I'm so grateful. Okay, we're going to go live on Insta. And what a gift. What an absolute gift it is to be here. Blessings and welcome, everyone. I am Tuesday May Thomas. And this is my weekly live stream, 4D Trinity. Now, I know it's been a minute since I've been here. I've been out and about. Some things I will share with you a little later. And I'm so grateful for our growing community here at YouTube, at Instagram, and just on every platform. And as you know, if you follow me, my favorite platforms are YouTube and Instagram. So thank you, everyone, so much for being here and being present. It feels that this topic here today is a big one, right? When do you need energy protection? It's a big question. It comes up quite often in the realms of spiritual growth as we learn to activate our energetic presence and we become awakened from deep within. It feels that we have no choice but to enter the domain of attaining certain levels of sensitivity when it comes to learning what your energy is, what your energy feels like, and what and where your energy ends and where someone else's or something else's energy begins. And what we do as we begin to attain self-mastery is we begin to learn how to be ever mindful of containing our energy, of creating the correct conditions within ourselves so that we do not allow any inappropriate energies, entities, beings, anything at all, thoughts, energy at all, to penetrate our field and to, as it were, get stuck in our psyche. We allow ourselves to become awakened and evolved in the realm of energy hygiene. And really, the deeper we go in and down that rabbit hole of ascension, the more we begin to recognize the absolute requirement to pay attention to all of these variables, to all of these aspects. Because what is it? It is your peace of mind. If someone or something is getting inside of you, inside of your mind, inside of your thoughts, and influencing your life, influencing the way you are experiencing your life, and if it's not of those frequencies that you feel are in service to your higher good, that are in service to your authentic empowerment and well-being, that is the cue. That is the cue for us to pay attention and to begin to do the work. So thank you everyone for hopping on and for saying hi at Instagram and at YouTube. Soon this show will be at Facebook as well. So thank you so much. All right, so your protection is a series of choices you make throughout the day. Think about that for a moment. Your protection is a series of choices you make throughout the day. Blessings. Welcome everyone on Insta. Thank you for saying hi. So we think about that, right? Protection. Again, if you just joined us, maybe go back and just watch the first few minutes a little later. But we were talking about our ability as we become spiritually sensitive to become attuned, activated, and aware to our internal environment and the environment that surrounds us. We become aware of where our energy extends, how it extends out, and to the parameters it does, and also where other people, places, and things as energy comes in to meet us and where that energy ends. And our protection, as it were, our sovereignty, is about maintaining a cleanliness, a mindfulness, a healthy boundary. But where does that boundary begin? Is it really outside of ourselves? Or is it within? It's within. It's within, right? We take care, we sweep the dojo outside, and we create the correct conditions for our well-being, for our peace, for that sovereignty. Yet the inner work is always the structuring, the scaffolding, the platform, the inner grids, the inner matrix, your personal matrix that creates the conditions through which you will experience on the outside. So that's why the teaching today speaks to this idea that your protection is a series of choices you make throughout the day. Which choices keep you running old patterns that are based on hurt, based on pain, based on trauma? I'm not going to do that because in the past I was hurt by XYZ. And so we continue to feed that loop in the matrix by making the same decision because we were hurt, because something went wrong, because something took us the wrong direction. And please, and thank you for your comments. I will hop back in and see them later. I need to put my glasses on to view them. So I'll hop back on and have a little scroll through in a little while. But I'm gonna keep going here. But thank you for your comments. If you have anything to say or share on any of the platforms, please do drop a line at Insta, at YouTube, and wherever else you might be watching. So yes, so if I'm making choices based on the past, the pain of my past and the hurt that I've had, then I'm going to be rerunning the same neurological and chemical systems in my body. I'm going to be inviting that same experience, unbeknownst to me, perhaps it's unconscious that I'm making those choices. But am I making choices that are going to keep running that past pattern, experience, program? Or am I making choices that are going to help set me free and explore unlimited freedom, peace, sovereignty, and really explore a new paradigm of self? And that's what this is all about, because what is the new? The new is the now. But we never get to know thyself, unless we do the work, unless we have the ability and take that chance on ourselves to make new choices on behalf of ourselves. So again, your protection is a series of choices you make throughout the day. The choices that you make that align you with the truth in your heart, with the truth of your very being, are the choices that are going to keep you in the now moment, are the choices that are going to be in alignment with your higher self, with your God self, with source, with love, with light, and with all the divine happenstance and presence that becomes that, all the divine beings and opportunities and blessings that are just a natural part of the now. But remember, the now, living in the NOWOSPHERE is an interdimensional experience. And as long as we're casting off grids and placing choices and making decisions and rerunning old patterns and memories, well, we're living in the matrix. We're living in the 3D. We're anchored through the gravity of the grids in the past or the present. Holographic fields versus those places and spaces within us in that tiny space of the heart that is that gateway to the now, to the NOWOSPHERE, and to all of love everywhere. So in other words, right, which choices, think about even the choices you've made today, or maybe yesterday, the past week. Which choices keep you in the past, decisions made by fear, and which free you into the now? Okay, because if we are casting off those choices based on old limitations, based on past paradigms, and we know it's tough, right? If there's old trauma, even ancestral, ancient trauma, that as we go on our spiritual path, we become awakened and we begin to realize, like, whoa, I'm carrying this whole suitcase of stuff, and is it even mine? Or what part of it is mine? Can I release it completely now? Or do I get to learn a divine message, divine lessons through working out these aspects? And so understanding that then, that even just from watching this show today, if you're like, no, I pretty much make good choices, I feel good, awesome. Yet perhaps there will come a time, and we're going to go deeper, perhaps there will come a time, and maybe it might even be this afternoon, where you bump into a situation and you get to make a choice and you're like, oh yeah, am I going to make that choice that's based on that old business thing that I got into? So it's all full of fear. And now granted, there's teachings, there's lessons. And when we do the work from those old experiences, and we're intending to then make a choice that'll free us into the now, we use that experience as wisdom. But it's a different thing to make a conscious choice based on a heart space of wisdom integration versus that space of mental fear, right? That keeps us in the matrix. So fear-based choices keep us prophesying doom, keep us rerunning the Akashik records of all of our past lives, past times, all dimensions, through all time and space. We're just going to keep running different fractalizations of those parts of ourselves. Now, when we make the choice for love, when we have the courage, because really, why is it so courage, and enabling, or why does it take so much courage to make choices in honor of love, in honor of yourself, in honor of empowerment and freedom? It's just because we've been programmed and we're used to, perhaps in some ways, giving the tar body, the shadow self, The tar body is the toxic twin of the light body, of giving that version of ourselves the steering wheel. Maybe in certain areas of life and in other areas of life, we feel the light body is fully driving the vehicle. But perhaps when it comes to other situations, relationships, finances, career, whatever it might be, you find yourself getting sucked back into that victimization. And so the work here, again, your protection is a series of choices you make throughout the day. Because if you're making choices that are not rooted in your truth, that are not true to you, you are not going to be in the now. You are not going to be in the people, You're not going to be in the people. You're not going to be in those environments with those people, places, and situations and opportunities that are going to bless you. I mean, we can challenge that notion. It's not all hell if you don't, if you minorly don't make a conscious choice from your heart. It's not like you're going to be doomed. Yet the thing is that we're looking for patterns. We look to recognize where we are doing this to ourselves over and over and over again, where we're just hitting ourselves on the head with the hammer by making those unconscious choices and then getting ourselves into predicaments and situations that we didn't have to be in. But don't be hard on yourself if you find yourself there. We're going to keep going. So when we make those choices from love, right, we're prophesying faith. We're stepping outside of the mind, outside of the part of the mental continuum that wants to judge, that's like, no, remember what happened in the past. We're going to get fucked up again now. If we make that choice, we're going to get hurt. Something bad's going to happen. Yet if your truth in your heart is nudging you, if God, if source, if love is nudging you, your higher self is saying, like, you muster up the courage and get in there, kid, right? Then we move forward from that place of love best that we can. And it's not out of ignorance, but it's out of innocence. Yet the innocence has to be completely pure. We're going to get into a little bit deeper of that a little later. Let's keep going. So where's the muddy water for you, right? Where are there conflicting alignments? So again, it's the thing of, is your mind, is your emotions, is your body in alignment with the choices you're making? Is it keeping you in the now, keeping you, i.e., protected, okay, in your present power, which the power is always your power to attune and to channel and to be and embody love. That's your power, is to be the wave function and not the particle. And where you are the particle, where you collapse the wave function and become the particle, it is our work as light beings, right? This is what I teach, to collapse the wave function in the name of love so that the particles you create through the observer effect match the love and light that you are and of the universe. And then you keep surfing the wave in the world, not of it. So, but where are there muddy waters? Where are there conflicting alignments? On one level, yes, I want to be here. On the other level, I don't want to be here. And I'm going to tell you a personal story about this a little later. So where do you keep going, or you say yes to certain job situations or romantic affairs, or, things that that you feel, and maybe you don't have a 3D list of like yes and no and why, but there's your intuition. Your higher self taps you and says like, or this is not for you. And where you've integrated enough of the wisdom where it's not just coming from a knee-jerk reaction of fear and like, oh, something bad's going to happen, where you project that, but you just know because you've been there before, and maybe more than once in that situation where you're like, I know that's not for me. I know I don't have to do it that way. I don't have to do it that way. And so that's where we get to pay attention, because where there's muddy water, where you're not completely clear, mind, heart, emotions, that's when there's going to be conflict and the lesson to learn. But it's okay, because we get into these things so that we can learn, right? Absolutely. So your protection resides in collapsing the wave function in the name of love. So the wave function, Soundgarden, right? There's this song, get it off my wave, get it off my wave. I think Chris Cornell was channeling that he really knew on a quantum level what was going on. That's my perspective. And I read this book. I'm going to read it again. It's so good. Surfers of the Zuvuya, by Jose Arguelles. And it's all about his channelings with his higher self and Mayan prophecy teachings, and really so much beyond what a lot of the paradigm that we might be fed just if you Google stuff, right? He had a real tap in. And some teachers, Drunvalo does not endorse him as much, yet I feel that there's a page from everyone, right, what they offer. And the Zuvuya is the circuit in the Mayan teachings channeled. It's the circuit of the 0 point. It's the circuit of truth, of love and light. It's the wave. It's the wave, what we call in quantum science, right? It's the wave function. It's the wave function. In the observer effect, can you see this? I hope it's not too glary. The observer effect, this is a cool picture. You can just look it up on Wiki, right? When you're not looking, when you're looking the other way, it's the wave. As soon as you look at it, whatever you look at, however you look at it, collapses the wave function. It becomes a particle. Blessings, Balls. Good to have you here, brother. It becomes that particle. And so again, can we begin to collapse the wave function in the name of love so that we can match with the 0 point frequency? And if we're going to create charged particles through our observer effect, again, are we seeing through the lenses of the past that keep us bound in those perceptual hall of mirrors, holographic matrix, 3D grittery? Or can we start to make choices that are going to free us? Because as long as we're bound, then we're always going to be a victim and you're going to always need protection. Yet I know for myself that I've come through to a certain point of healing, and through being a student of A Course in Miracles, there's a lesson in A Course in Miracles that says, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. And for years, coming up in all this spiritual, just everythingness since I was 16, damn straight use protection. While you're learning about energy and healing your life, and where you have vulnerability and you're freaking out and everything, there's can be tumultuous learning curves. And so you're like, yeah, let me learn some protection. Let me surround myself in that ring of light. Let me call in this. Let me put my crystal on, whatever your things are. Yet there is a point for 4D, for fourth dimensional consciousness, Christ consciousness, living in the world, not of it, bridging heaven on earth through your energy vehicle consciously, where protection is completely unrequired. And that's where we're moving towards. We toggle back and forth through that. So we're getting closer to this place where in my defenselessness, my safety lies. Because again, the observer effect, as long as I'm observing and thinking I need protection, oh, yes, you will need protection. But if that's not in your mind, if you don't have those grids, if you're not plugged into that part of the matrix, then you walk through the Holy Land. You are invisible. You are invisible. So let's keep going. Make your word and thought match the wave function of your natural ability to remember your truth. And you know what your truth is. I'm going to offer that it's you in full peace and in your full bright light, your white light, your power of love, like your power of love and only love. And that's God. That's what we teach here, that God is love and only love. It has no opposite. And that's 4D. In the 3D, the grid matrix, what we teach is that it is the binary system of yes and no, love and fear, right and wrong. It's the duality realm. But we learn, like how Santos Bonacci says, he says, man, use your word, use thy word to make your way through the labyrinth of this matrix and get back to source, get back to love, plug back into God, bring love down through you. And so bridge heaven on earth and have that experience. It's just a matrix, right? But as long as we have unhealed stuff, it's very real. And as long as there's some demons within us, some heavy toxins, heavy tar bodies, addictions, whatever it might be, oh, this stuff is real. And so, yes, gather your cloak of protection, do what you need to do. But ultimately, what I want you to know is eventually you'll come to a place where you might be wearing the crystal, you might be surrounding yourself in white light, but it's not because you're afraid. It's not because you need protection. But while you do, use it. Use it. And I have other shows on YouTube about protection. I'll come back to the YouTube here and I'll put some cards, some links to those later. But let's keep going. So the wave is love. The particle is charged with how you see it. See it as love. That's the practice, right? Because your protection is a series of choices you make throughout the day. And because of the Heisenberg principle, we are the same as those atoms. We are constantly in one moment, we're flying high, we're beautiful. We can totally tag ourselves and be like, I am that, I am love, I am God. The next moment you get a phone call, something happens and you're like, you're not that anymore. And you've shifted. And now you're in your tar, now you're in your fear, now you're in your limitation, now you're like afraid, now you're in scarcity. So you got to collapse the wave function back into the way of love. Exercise that musculature, your spiritual will. Only we can do it for ourselves. Your protection is a series of choices you make throughout the day. 4D is all about self-mastery. It's about living in the now, in the NOWOSPHERE. Okay, let's see. So there's a hidden story. So even if you have, so our little meditation we're going to do in a little while is going to be about considering a recent experience that you've had whereby you feel victimized, whereby you've had the experience of something where you were like, oh man, you know what? I didn't listen to my guidance. I did go down that street. I did go into that community, or I did take that job. I did go on that date when I knew my core, my gut, my heart was telling me no, no. And then you had an experience perhaps where you were like, shoot, I need to protect myself. I forgot to protect myself, or I don't feel like I needed protection, but here I am. And then I was too late. You know, if you've had some kind of a thing where you feel that someone has gathered your energy, penetrated your field, we're going to get into that. So there's a hidden story, always something to learn, right, in these experiences. If there's something to learn, learn it. Own it. Own it. Pay attention. That's what we're doing here. We're awakening. We're awakening the light body, awakening the light worker within. But the work, again, is it on the outside? Sometimes, but really, the true initiation is the work that we do on the inside, is the light work, the love work we do on the inside. And that's the most important, because everything outside is it's only what's going on the inside. So do the work, right? We're going to have a chance to do that in our meditation this morning. Own it, master it, right? I know sometimes we get into these situations and then we feel like a fool, right? Where we're like, I should have worn that rose quartz, or, you know, I mean, I'm kind of being funny, but I know I've had I mean, if you read my books and stuff, it's just a plethora of very interesting instances, you know, whether you're sober, you're on drugs, you're in ceremony, you're at a weird spiritual thing, communities, just your own mind, your own tar body. And so again, the work is always there. Master it, own it, integrate it. Sometimes we don't want to look at those stories, and it's okay. But for the ones that you're ready to voyeur and work with, go in. You will be held. A sacred space will be made for you. Your protection is being in the now. It's being in the now. So be gentle on yourself. Do the work and bless those situations, right? Bless those tidings that have occurred. That's the way we get back to the 0 point. That's the way we get back to collapsing the wave function of self in the name of love. And we know in our spiritual communities that all else around us is really just reflecting back to us that which we are, that which we are. So I'm very excited. I ordered some new glasses, so hopefully I'll have them next week. Let's just scroll through and see. Oh, blessings for joining, Starseed. Atom, blessings. Nice to see you. Oh, so many new people here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. And you know what? Maybe another time we're going to do a live video request. I still have never done that. Kirsten, oh, blessings, sister. Nice to see you here. I still have never done that. And I'm kind of afraid. And because when I have a show already set up and I know kind of where we're going with it, I want to just honor that and keep going with it. But I'm very open to that, Atom. I'm totally open to that. Oh, and thank you. Someone's here on the YouTube. Lucky, blessings. Nice to see you, brother. Thanks for saying hi. So let's have a look. I did want to make some announcements before we went in. And I just want to check our time. I'm doing my best to be better and better with time, because sometimes it gets away from me. And then at the end of our session here, sometimes our little meditations get cut off, and I don't want to do that to you. And speaking of that, I know I was experimenting last month on my page at Grid Mind Science on Instagram and doing a weekly meditation. And what I've realized is what I'm going to do is do that once a month. So definitely hang out and stay tuned for that. And we're going to be switching from the Bija mantras, getting into some mindful meditation. But I do want to share some announcements with you. Oh, okay. Yes. First of all, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers at YouTube. Every time I go onto YouTube, there's just more and more of you. So thank you. And I pray and I affirm that everything I share fully serves your path of spiritual growth and sovereignty. Thank you, everyone at Instagram. And thank you especially for following Grid Mind Science. Grid Mind Science is a project I'm working on based on a traditional set of metaphysical teachings that I was endowed with through a Grand Reiki Master and Trance channel I apprenticed with. It's all in my book. Of course, my book isn't here. How funny. It's all in my book, The Reiki Apprentice. So these teachings are metaphysical by nature, and it's all about understanding the grid matrix of collective consciousness and how to use it to heal your life. So it is the science of mastering the matrix with fourth dimensional consciousness. It is the science of multidimensional healing and ascension. But it's also this movie, right? It's this project I'm working on. So thank you if you follow my notes on my movie at Instagram. It's also at Twitter and Facebook, but I'm very, very active on Insta. So thank you. So I want to tell you, there's a story about the grid mind science, because as many of you know, and thank you for your support, I was at the Conscious Life Expo. I had a booth. It was in Los Angeles, one of the biggest like spiritual kind of hobnob community gatherings collective in the globe. And I was there last couple weeks ago, and I did a presentation on grid mind science, and I also had a booth, and I'm going to tell you about that story in a few. But what I'm going to ask you is to support my journey. I have some new items at my website that I would love to introduce to you. If you follow me, you know that God is a verb. Or maybe you agree with that, but I have my God is a Verb shirt for sale now at my website. I have all the sizes currently available for $25. I'll ship it anywhere in the States. My website link is in my profile at Insta. It's also just my full name, TuesdayMayThomas.com. I have music, I have meditations, but I'm asking your help to support me. Buy my books. DM me if you want a straightforward shoot without going through Kindle or Amazon, and then that way I get the majority of the profit. But I'm on a journey of connecting with the whales, with the whale frequencies. The whales hold the Akashic records. They're in the medicine tradition. And part of the journey with the grids is connecting with the whales. And I have this blessing to go to Mexico in a couple of weeks and be with them and literally, well, hopefully hug them, kiss on them, like be very, very close to them. And I'm receiving blessings to help with my accommodations there. So if it is of your guidance and of your interest to support me, go to my website and buy something, buy a shirt, buy a book, or DM me if you don't see anything there that you like. And also, one thing that I'm offering is I'm doing this. Oh, let me read it to you because it's so exciting. So I do tarot readings, but also what I've started to do is intuitive Akashic reading and clearings. Again, there's a page at my website you can check out for that. And I want to read you the little blurb on it. Okay, so for tarot, I channel your higher self with the Osho Zen to divine your perfect message. And the Akashic intuitive reading and grid matrix clearing. You share your query. We quest into the Akashic records via a mini meditation to find the limiting pattern you're working on breaking down. And then higher self clears what you are ready to release through the grid matrix. The pattern is reset with love, healing takes place, and sovereignty experienced. And I do those for the 30, 45, or 60-minute sessions, and for the tarot, and there's 20% off of those for the next 2 weeks. So please hop over to the website. I really love and appreciate all of your support. That's the God phone. Hey, God. Yes, blessings. God says hi, everyone. I would love that. Okay, Bosna City, you're up. God wants me to read some of your posts. I would love that and how it connects with our topic today. Yes. Yes, I know God is a verb for sure. So what God is translating is this notion that God is being redefined, that word, the frequency, the grid is being redefined. And God, the expression of that, is inviting this notion to understand that God is simply love. It is love without an opposite. It is love in motion. God is not necessarily assigned any gender at all. It can be neither male or female. And that God is the feeling realization of oneness, of unity. That is so beautiful, dear God. Thank you so much. I will. God sends love, blessings, and thank you. So if you're new, every 4DT that we do, God calls up and gives us a little message or invites us to read something. And this week, a dear, dear brother, Bosna City, if I pray and I say it correct, sometimes I'm not sure, Boz, had posted some beautiful offerings in his story, and it links in. So we're going to get back in now to our theme. When do you need energy protection? Okay. So I'm going to read here for you. The resultant is you have created a perspective of judgment that allows you to enhance the judgment of yourself to such a degree as to create a perspective of prediction. Now, isn't this interesting? This speaks to this notion of self-prophesying, the doom, of being like, I know, I've been there before, those people are weird, or every time I go there, something bad always happens. And so we're casting a judgment, we're collapsing the wave function, not in love, but in the way of polarity and of judgment, creating that polarity, and then making a prediction, right? We are judging them or it. We are judging ourselves for not being able to see things in a different way, for having those past experiences, and for deciding that that's exactly what's going to happen again by predicting and speaking it so. And we catch ourselves, right? If you pay attention, you catch yourself. You really begin to become conscious of where your tongue goes. And mastery of the tongue and mastery of the mind is a vital component of bridging 4D, of bridging heaven on earth realization, and that consciousness that is not stuck on the loom of the matrix and polarity. And now there's good in the matrix, right? There's love and there's fear. The matrix is the dual plane, that binary system. And what we get to do is we get to learn and straddle through it, learn how to choose love over and over again versus fear. I'm going to keep reading. Okay, so that would allow you to then perceive yourselves manipulated. So let's start. The resultant is you have created a perspective of judgment. Think about a situation for yourself that allows you to enhance the judgment of yourself to such a degree as to create a perspective of prediction. That would allow you to then perceive yourselves manipulated, altered, and shifted by forces outside of yourselves in order to therefore create the self. Do you get it? It's very, very complex, yet if you've been there, if you've experienced it, you're like, okay, yes, we do this to ourselves, but that's not the real us. That's the tar body. That's the version of us. That's the toxic twin of the light body. That's just the fear and the unresolved, unhealed parts of our mind, parts of our emotion, parts of memory in our cells and in our DNA that have not been brought to love, that have not been excised and recalibrated, as it were. So there's just one more little paragraph. What it does, of course, is it satisfies the mind's perspective, right? When we do those judgments, when we do that dance mentally, that's the mind is like, okay, thank God, I'm working here. I've figured things out. I know what's going to happen. The mind's perspective that it is that which is greater than itself, than yourself, that is in charge and satisfies your desire to disempower yourselves. Now, again, as I teach here, that's all the work of the tar body. That's all, pardon me, the work of the part of ourselves that is still walking with us in fear, that would have it that way, the part of ourselves that would have things be that way, that would have the past rerun and have us be a victim. So where is it that you've experienced that? I'm going to tell you a little story. So again, thank you for all of your support with the Conscious Life Expo. It was a mind-blowing, heart-opening experience. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday morning was my presentation on grid mind science. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that I spent the past year preparing for this and studying and doing research and really growing a whole new neural net in my beautiful research with the grid, which has been beautifully and profoundly amazing. And I embrace and I cherish it all. At the same time, for the last 2 months coming up to the presentation, I could not sleep. I could not sleep. I actually had to start taking Target brand sleeping pills because I couldn't freaking sleep. And the melatonin that I usually take, just a little, that little Trader Joe's, that like 0.3 milligram or whatever it is in the evening, that stopped working. And I'm not smoking pot, not drinking alcohol. So just clean, clear. And just that anxiety, that nervous energy, and really wanting to do good. I'd never been in this level of professionalism in my career before where I was going to be up there sharing, a presentation, and I was very, very nervous. And so anyway, my sleep was very patchy and disrupted for a whole 2 months before it. The night before I get there, I only got 3.5 hours sleep. It was a 2.5 hour drive in, 2 hour setup, and then it's like boom, you're on. 10 a.m. people start coming in. By that Friday night, I knew I was starting to get sick, but I ignored it. That Saturday, very interesting character came into my booth. And so here we go, bubble of light. I'm going to put this in a bubble of light. So this man comes up and he starts like checking out my booth, checking me out up and down, and kind of just real, not love and light, benign, neutral energy, but just kind of sketchy and like just not, you know when you're like, and you're not judging, you're not projecting fear, but you're just like, pay attention. Higher self's like, pay attention, pay attention. So I'm watching this dude, but of course here I am just wanting to be Miss Love and Light, and I had set up sigils for my booth and for my presentation, but again, not out of fear, but out of just enhancing the love, enhancing the light, calling in my ancestors and etc. to create the correct conditions for me to be in the love field. So knowing that I had done that, but also feeling this dude's sketchy energy, I noticed that he was like looking at me in a very strange way, and then he was scanning the booth. And now this is this new, I'm going to say this, and I don't usually talk in this way, but this is a reality I see. I live out in the desert. I'm a monk in the desert. I very rarely go into these communities. When I was younger, I did a lot of this, but these days I don't. So I'm in there and I'm noticing though that I'm not feeling comfortable, that he's doing something energetically. And I'm going to call it energy. It's the new vampire energy tech, if you will, and bear with me. So just notice if this has ever happened to you. So I'm standing there and I can tell he's scanning. And then I can tell, right? I can see, if you have third eye vision, you can see, or you intuit, you're sensitive. I can see that he's actually going through every part of my booth with his vision. And he was like, as if he was wallpapering, and he was like, grrr, grrr, grrr. And I was sitting there going, and I'm trying to be Miss Love and Light, but and he had like paused and he was doing this very physical, this thing in my booth where like he was being taken over by this energy, or he was channeling some funk. And what I realized is I was like, he's not hanging up wallpaper. He is stripping the light from my freaking booth. But I didn't get that at first, right? That came a little after. So I'm watching him do this thing and he's saying, oh, you should join my my thing. He's an organizer for 5D presentations. And I was like, well, thank you very much, but my work is in the 4D and I appreciate it. And so he starts telling me all this stuff, and it costs this much and you got to come to Vegas, and he's giving me all his cards and telling me all this stuff. Meanwhile, he's stripping the booth of light, and then he looks at me, and then and then I feel, and then I physically, energetically, I feel, and I was like, fuck. And that's when I got the ding, 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 ding. He's not just looking around. He's like stripping just all the love and light. And really he wasn't, but that's what I got. That's what the download was. And here's the cherry on top. And then after he sort of did the scan on me and just kind of like peeled as much love and light out of me as he could, then he holds up his hand and he starts, and it's in a bubble of light. So I am not doing this to you. I'm just showing you for your reference for future, or for maybe you've had this done in the past. It's like, It's like he started doing this programming, this thing in my energy, in my aura. Now, any other time, family, I would have been like, step the fuck back. I would have been like, boom, boom, boom. Step down. I see you. I'm not into it. Stop. Like I would have called it out. But for whatever reason, for whatever my lesson was here, I didn't. I just, and I think what happened is I was sideswiped. Like I had never seen this tech before. I had never seen this done, this stripping, but also this where he was like plugging into my aura. I mean, any other time I would have been like, step back, brother. Like, nuh-uh, this is not going down. But it sideswiped me. I was exhausted. I was coming down with a cold. I didn't know what the fuck was happening. And so this happened. So anyway, he gives me his cards and his this and his that, and then he leaves. And I was like, and then as soon as he left, I got these downloads and I was like, whoa. And then I got down on myself because then I felt like this is, why did I even let that happen? Oh my God, and da, da, da. And then I just had to play it cool, let it go, put love there, release it, because there was more people coming through the booth and just talking. And so but that was there in the back of my mind. So have you had anything like that? Because that's what we're going to work on in today's meditation. But here we go. The muddy waters, this thing that I just read from Boz. Now, Then it was there though in the back of my mind where I know, like A Course in Miracles, I am love and love is inviolate. You can't mess with love. You really can't. When you're in your full power and authority of love, of God, force, nothing can fuck with you. Nothing can mess with you. You are inviolate. Yet, I had this experience for whatever reason that I could learn from, that I could share it with you perhaps as well. And so in the back of my mind and getting the realization that this dude had just scanned and stripped and attempted to get into my system energetically with this vampire tech and to corrupt my hard drive or whatever you want to call it, but that's how it felt. And then that was sitting in my mind. So here we go, the muddy waters. Now I'm not love, 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 unfuckable with. Here I am, love, love. There's something weird happening. This dude came up and then this story started being created. Now that night I had to close the booth early because I started getting a fever. I started getting aches and pains and chills. Had to close the booth. Thank God I was staying at the hotel that night. Had to go in and all night. Do you know what I did? I freaking cried. I felt like such a failure because I was like, a whole year I've been studying and doing research and I created this presentation to be here this weekend and I'm sick. And is it that guy's fault? So there we go. There's the story. There's the matrix. And I'm going, oh, did he get in? Did he? And then we have to like be really mindful of, am I judging him? Am I judging myself? Am I judging the whole thing? What am I perceiving? Am I collapsing the wave function in love? Am I collapsing it from old fear? Because again, if you read my book, The Reiki Apprentice, like many of us perhaps, there have just been back-to-back very interesting manipulative situations that I've had the honor of learning from. Ultimately, they bring us to greater love if we integrate and we learn, right, through them, and we forgive. And we just take it for what it is. But so all these things are playing with me. I have a fever. I've got aches and pains. I'm bawling my eyes out. I'm thinking this dude had done some weird shit and now I'm fucked. And now my presentation is in the morning and I can't sleep all night. So basically, bottom line is I woke up. I didn't really sleep. I maybe slept 2 or 3 hours that night. But I got up and I felt like a disaster. I felt like a failure because I knew I was not going to be able to give my 100,000,000% at this presentation. I had cried all night. The eyes were all puffy. I was shivering with a fever and chills and aches. But you know what? I did it. I got up there and I did the presentation. I don't think I was really in my body, and perhaps that was a part of the blessing. I was just channeling, like severe channeling, because it was very, very difficult. I think if I would have thought about it too much, but there it is. As I got up and I did it. And grandma's so cute. She's like, you graduated. And I'm like, I did, grandma, I did it, even though I was dying, like I was dying. As soon as I got off that stage, I like was hunched over and in a ball of mess. I had to even take down my booth. Thank you, my dear, dear, dear friend, Nikki, and my mother who helped me take down the booth. Cause I was, you know how it is when you get the flu. And when have I had the flu? Like it's been a long, long time since all that sort of stuff. So anyway, I want to acknowledge as well the dear brothers and sisters who came through the booth and who attended the presentation, because the information was very well received. And there was a very beautiful loop of interconnection and of honoring and of just seeing together and appreciation. So I thank you very much. But the lesson is that I came home, I died for like a whole week, I was sick, and it took a series of Epsom salt baths. And what higher self brought is the meditation I want to share with you. I knew that I had to work this thing out with this guy. I had to go in to the heart. I had to go into the meditation and work out the inconveniences of memory that were set up in my mind that I had brought with me, obviously, that I could even recognize or think that he was doing something to inviolate my energy. And also him. Right? I didn't want him, the memory of him in my psyche. And I had even gone so far as to throw the flyer and his business card, the physical things that he had actually given me. At a certain point when I took a break and got a tea, I just threw that stuff like as far away in the trash as I could. I was like, I'm not even putting that in the trash of my own booth, because that frequency is not a match. That's not what I want to hold and be bestow of. So higher self had us go in, and we went back into the situation and we saw it. We reran the memory. We went back into the timeline, which is what we're going to do. So again, think about what memory you want to rerun. We're going to go in here in a short moment. We're going to tap in. We're going to plug in with higher self. We're going to go into that timeline, whatever it is that you're ready to allow to be reconfigured in the name of love, in the name of light. We're going to review it. We're going to see it as if we're a fly on the wall. We're going to watch the interaction, whatever it was for you in your situation. And then what you're going to do is you're going to rerun that memory 3 times. And each time you're going to rerun the grid, you're going to repattern the grid, your cellular memory, your DNA with regards to it. You're going to refine it so it's going to become more neutral, less polarized, clearer and clearer until the actual exchange is one of pure love and light and without polarity. And then at the end of that, we're going to pause and you're going to ask higher self, is there a message from that? And you're going to listen and receive it. Okay. So for the highest good, we're going to come into this here now. Okay. So please do get comfy. I'm going to take another sip of water, and it's probably going to be like an 8-minute or so meditation. So get comfy. If you want, you can definitely recline. If you'd like to, you can grab your crystal. Pardon me. So make any adjustments, find your seat, and close your eyes. We're going to take 3 breaths. Take a deep, slow breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Your next breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And on this last breath, take an inhale through the nose. And as you exhale through the mouth, feel a divine connection with your higher self through that exhale. And now feel yourself intimately connected, clear connection with your higher self, your wisdom self, your God self. And let yourself drop into the heart center. And take a moment here to be held by your own heart. You are in your heart center, being held by your heart. Take a breath. And from this space, connected with higher self, connected with your heart, go into that timeline. It may be from when you were a child. It may be years ago, 2 months ago, 2 minutes ago. What is it that you're ready to repattern? Quantum jump now. Go into that timeline and imagine you're a fly on the wall and see the rerun of exactly what happened, how the environment looks, what you said, what you did, what they did, how you responded, reacted, how they responded, reacted. We're going to take a few moments of silence. Just imagine you're in that timeline now, a fly on the wall. Press the play button and watch and listen to the scenario. And just notice how you feel. Notice what's coming up for you. And without judging it, just observing, gathering information. Okay. Now, what you're going to do, again, we're going to rerun the memory. You're going to rerun it 3 times. And each time, it's going to become less and less polarized. You're going to place love there. You're going to be the version of yourself that perhaps you wish you would have been. And I know we don't like to say could have, would have, yet we're going back in time and we're resetting the memory set points. So whichever version of yourself that is in alignment with you being in your authentic truth, in your courageous love and light power, to the best that you can, rerun that memory on purpose. Press play again, and now re-demonstrate, respond, recreate you, not the other person, but just the way that you interact in that memory First round, go in and make it so. Listen to your words, watch your actions, and then see how they or it responds. Good. Now take a moment, take a breath. And you're going to go back in again, second round. You're going to replay, rewrite, rewire that memory, that pattern again, and even greater love, even greater light channels through you, channels through your higher self connection and the wisdom in which you will re encode the memory in your DNA through the grids and set it in the Akashik from this work. Second round, go back in and rewire it with even greater love and light through you. Again, you're not speaking for the other person or the thing. It's just how you speak, act, and respond. And go back in now. Round two. Good. Now take another breath, take a moment. Last round. Now, this one, you're going to go back in, you're going to press play again, but it's going to be the most benign, the most neutral, the most love and light filled memory that you are capable of channeling now from your heart. Seeing yourself, imagining yourself being, embodying your higher self in this memory, placing that love there like a Jedi in the world, not of it. Round three, go back in and make it so. And just observe what's happening. How is it different this time? Your environment, you, the response or the non response of the people, the person, the place, the thing. Imagine that perfect, blessed ending. And when you're ready, take a slow, deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And now imagine as that fly on the wall, you can step back a little bit and you see the original timeline because it's all in the Akashic. But what you've done is you've changed now the grids. You've changed the polarity in the grid matrix, which is what stimulates the simulation of the holographic universe we experience in the third dimension. The Akashik is the Akashik. It will always hold every deleted picture, every file. Yet the grid is the sea of subatomic superposition soup. And it is here we change the chessboard, we change the memory, we shift the set points of the physical, mental, emotional aspects of self to align with the purity and the truth of you as spirit, as God, as love, as light. So see those timelines now, the original timeline and all the three ones that you've reworked. Take a deep breath in. From your heart, breathe love out to all of those timelines. Just imagine your breath just sending love across all of those timelines. And you're going to do 2 more. Deep breath in through the nose. And as you exhale, let love, the quantum organizer, channel through those timelines. You're not trying to change anything. You're not trying to control anything. You're allowing love to make the right arrangement of time and space for your highest good. And do that last breath. Inhale and exhale. Breathe that love, that quantum organizing power of love through all of those timelines. And for the highest good, we'll ask the universe to run these timelines through all time, space, and dimensions. And for the highest good of all, and so it is. Come back into your heart space. 3 breaths to come back in. Inhale, deep breath in. Exhale, coming back into the space that you are now in this body, wherever it is that you are, breathing in. Exhaling, knowing your truth is love. Connected to heart, to higher self, to God, to source. 1 more deep breath in. And exhale, you have completely returned. Now take your time to gently blink your eyes open. Bring your awareness back to the body, back to the room. How very beautiful. How very powerful. We can go back in time. We can rewrite memory. We can heal in this way. This is a lot of what the work I do with private clients is. And I'm grateful to share this with our beautiful community here. What you'll notice, again, we're not holding anything tightly. We're not having any expectations, but what you will notice is things will begin to shift as you perhaps think in memory to those situations, or perhaps maybe bump into even something that has a similar frequency, or even if you see it on TV or wherever it is on your phone, you'll see it from that detached perspective. And you will have the set points now activated within you of a new reality. You will have set the synaptic set points through the grid matrix, and also the neurological, the chemical, the cellular memory set points within your physical body. You do not need to respond in the old ways that you have before. You do not need to be a victim. And you don't need to be violated. But as those lessons come, own them, work them, transmute them, and bless them, and learn from them. Integrate the wisdom. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on yourself, because ultimately, again, we are moving to a place where we don't need protection. When we fully are present in the now, in the NOWOSPHERE, protection is a thing of the 3D. It's a thing literally of the past. It's a thing of the past. But for now, and in those areas where you know you're a little shaky, you need a little help, then do what you need to do to protect yourself. And remember, your protection is a series of choices you make throughout your day. You're either going to be choosing to rerun the fearful patterns, or those that keep you in the now and in love. If you want to join my community, go to my website. The link is at my profile. And right there on the first page, it's this little subscribe box. I'm going to be sending out my monthly love letter soon. And again, I really appreciate your support. If you want to get a God is a Verb t-shirt and support my Grid Mind Science project, and support me going out and hugging on some beautiful whales down in Mexico. I'm going to be away during the first week of March. I really am so very grateful. If you just want to donate to me, DM me, or there's a PayPal link. I'll put one down below at YouTube. And either way, I'm just so grateful you're here. I love this community. I really love YouTube and Instagram, and I'm very grateful for everyone being here. And at the very least, if you're into metaphysics, science, and spirituality, follow me at Grid Mind Science on Insta. So we're going to end here. It's going to wrap up. So again, I pray that everything I serve truly serves your alignment with your higher self, your spiritual growth and sovereignty. This is 4D Trinity. I am Tuesday May Thomas, and this show is all about bridging heaven on earth realization through the unity of mind, body, and emotions with spirit. So thank you and namaste with so much love, everyone. So much love. Blessings. Thank you, everyone at YouTube. See you soon. Blessings.